Hi everyone, this is a live cast from a game between two new players who I've recruited through forums and Steam groups and of course our project website. They are NextItem versus GodlyCheese, and this is a multiplayer game. Actually, it's not a live cast, I've recorded it before. However, I thought I'd do the voiceover now. It's a game of two guys who've played a few games, so they're relatively noob, but they like the game very much, as do I, and many others in our Steam group. Anyway, there's a very typical startup here. I'll just try to comment everything that's on the screen right now and see how it goes. So the Atreides is now setting up the game. I saw the Ordos deploy somewhat earlier, but the Atreides chose to look for a more central patch of rock to build. You can also see that he is building concrete in advance before placing his structures. Not necessary. Could be nice if you want to. It helps your building stay strong, and you don't need to repair them that often. A pretty typical start. One wind trap for power, 2 refineries for the Atreides player, and let's see, the Ordos player already has 3 refineries up, and I think he's making a 4th, or at least he's planned a 4th, where you see these construction animation thingy. Means that it's already been placed, but it needs to finish up. NextItem will be playing as Ordos, and Gavin, or GodlyCheese, something like that, he's playing Atreides. It's a pretty funny game, especially considering that they're noobs. It's basically the startup where you have to make a choice. Do I get a lot of refineries? Do I rush to some early tier 1 units and try to damage my opponent? Do I want to get a carry-all out from the high-tech factory before worm sign begins? The first worm sign is very crucial. If you don't have a carry-all out, you have to babysit your harvester so they just don't go driving over the sand by themselves, because they will get swallowed, and you will lose a lot of money and time and harvesting time. You see the Ordo is getting his first returned harvester. So he'll be having his income next to his starting credits, so he can build more buildings. Atreides is also returning his first and second harvester now. Very nice. So the credits will now be rolling in, and we'll be seeing what choices the players make. Still making concrete for the Atreides player, Gavin. Concrete is really good. I'm just too lazy. When I macro, I just place buildings everywhere. I have no time for concrete. But that's my choice, of course. But most players do use concrete, and very curious. I suppose the Atreides player is now getting an outpost in the middle of the concrete, so that gives him extra vision. That's a radius of say 10 cells, 15 maybe. It's a pretty large radius. He should be able to cover all spice around his rock. Anyway, the Ordos player is getting his high-tech factory already. He already has it, but he has power issues, you see. He needs more wind traps in order to power the building, so he can actually train a carry-all. It's very crucial to get a carry-all. Without carry-all, you'll just be stuck in early game forever. However, the Atreides player, aka Gavin, he chose to make a light vehicle factory before carry-all, so he can do some scouting, maybe pressure a little. And Wormsign is now just started, so he ordered all his harvesters back in time. The Atreides player, that is. So that's really nice. And the Atreides player has, I hope he has his carry-all ready for when his 3 harvesters, which you see there, are going to be returning, so they can get a carry-all lift off, which would be really nice. By the way, the music in the background, I like some hip-hop or some energizing music. not a loungy guy like Jesse is. He always listens to loungy music in the back to help him relax, which is nice. But I'm more of a hyped person. I like hypey music, but also this hip hop in the background now is quite relaxed. It's more like philosophical hip hop. Philosophical. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, I'm not English, as you can hear from my speech. But you can see the Ordos player, aka NextItem, he has his carry on. You see, it's saving him so many harvesters. And he also, of course, your mining operations will be so much more efficient. Because they don't have to drive all the way over the sand. Did you get a really fast return? The credits will be ticking in a lot faster. And right now you see the zoom function. That's nice. Really like that. As you can see in the chat here, people are discussing some random stuff about the game. Maybe things they would like to see changed or implemented or improved. But that's all something they should discuss on the forums. Anyway, you can see Gavin. He already has some trikes out. He placed them nicely around his base, so it's going to be very hard for the Ordos player NextItem to harass his harvesters. He can easily pull all his strikes there because you can see the movement speed is really fast. And our Ordos player is making some raider trikes, and he's actually dropping one. But the Atreides trike is now scouting the Ordos base and possibly damaging some buildings. Oh, that's funny. You see these two trikes? They're both shooting the same building because it's in between. But that's really smart from the Atreides player. Try to lure the Ordos into attacking his own buildings. If he doesn't micromanage his strikes, that doesn't work. Also, you see a slight difference in the trike model. The green trike, or the Ordos trike, it's a raider trike. It has a more slender model and it's faster. It's a trike built for speed. It's an excellent scouting unit just to race around the map with. It can also deal damage, but not so much. I would really like to see how this game develops further. I can't quite recall. I recorded this last week. Plus now I have a day off, so I can record some audio. Let's see. I'm really curious what the Ordos is getting. The Atreides is pretty clear. He's making another 2x2 building. Could possibly be a barracks or a wind trap, or maybe another light vehicle factory, or a House of X for some technology upgrades. Ah, there it is, House of X. And he placed another 2x2 building and 2 1-cell buildings, so that's possibly some turrets for defense. You can still see the Ordos player NextItem. He's still scouting, and the Atreides players can try to do some harass, I suppose, with those trikes. See if he can deal some damage. I'm trying to teach these guys that you can make a MTP. That's basically a quad with a radar trike, a radar dish on it, so it has a good scouting range. But they decided not to make any in this game, which is their choice, of course. No worry there. Let's see where this goes. So mining operations are still going. We're entering the mid game. And nothing too special going on there. He's trying to kite a bit with his strikes. Try to see if he can poke at some buildings, I suppose. There's some option. He's now harassing the Ordos mining operations. That one raider trike isn't going to cut it. The Atreides strike should win from the raider trike. But he's pulling all his strikes back now, because the surprise factor is now over. No surprise left. Also note that this is now worm sign, which you can see from the blinking worm icon on the right top of the screen. Basically it means don't move anything over the sand or you will lose your units to worms. There's a bit of lag now, you see. That's too bad. But I'm playing with 2 observers and 2 players, so that's what happens. But it will even out in a bit. Remember, this is a free project, so there's not a development team of 50 guys behind it to code. It's all been coded by one man, Jesse Krizik. Did a great job, if you ask me. The game is really playable, and it's a fun game. Most of these players play StarCraft fanatically, but on occasion they play this game once or twice a day. Takes about, average game is between 10 and 25 minutes. So again, if you would like to join us play this game, we have 70 members now who are in our online gaming group on Steam, and we have games every night, and it's good fun. It's a fun community. You see some trikes trying to hit each other, and they're getting low on hit points. Some are smoldering trikes, so they have to be careful. A few more hits and they'll die. You see that harvester just got eaten on a refinery? If you put a refinery on the edge, the worm can just scoop over the ledge of the rock and pull the unit back on the sand and eat it. I guess that's the theory behind it. But it's something that it's a mechanic which adds a bit of how do you call that? A bit of diversity to the gameplay. You have to keep in consideration that you're not safe on the edge of your rock. once you've actually attracted the worm. But this is funny. The Atreides player, Gavin, he's still making trikes, whilst the Ordos player has pumped out 10 to 15 combat tanks, which should easily defeat all those trikes. I'm not sure if the Atreides player has an answer for this. But then again, this is a noob game. These guys are relatively new. But the Ordos player definitely has the upper hand now, army-wise. Let's see, there's this rocket turret, which you see, it has a good precision there, because it can shoot the tanks. However, I'm very much afraid that this will not be sufficient, because the tanks are just shooting at the buildings, and every building or harvester taken out is a big loss. And he's actually dropping in some tanks, which is really good. Yeah, this is basically GG, I suppose. Let's just see what the players decide. There's still some chatting going on all the time, but that's basically having good times with your opponent, trying to be mannered, trying to have a good time. But we can all tell that the Atreides player has been totally ruffle-stomped. It has no choice but to back off or to leave the game and GG. And maybe do a raid. But it's funny because in the few days after this match they both improved their